Board games, board games. I might be talking about the convention I went to on Sunday, but I'm not gonna shout. The convention I went to with Jess and Josie was in Norwich. It was called Diceni, and there were so many lovely joke. They played my games. They felt like they were a joke, by which I mean they made them laugh, and they enjoyed a bit of stuff. And a game about setting scenarios that people do for different lengths of time seemed to be fun enough. Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good whatever it is, wherever you are. 10 a.m. is UK time, time for Busy Beats and Board Game Blether. And today I'm chatting a quick chat, relatively quick episode, especially compared to yesterday's relatively epic thing, about Diceni. Why do I love Diceni? What is Diceni? Diceni in Norwich. It's halfway between a market and a convention, I would say. It's kind of like a market in that people are wandering through. It's totally free entry. And that makes it feel very different because you get older folks, folks of different genders, you get younger folks like tiny little folks, you get folks who look like they and say that they've never played a board game before. Like one person brought her two friends and they said, "Oh yeah, we've never played them, but we've been told that these are fun." And then they sat down and they had a laugh, and that was a wonderful thing to be able to facilitate. And yeah, have being able to reach people who wouldn't normally play board games was a wonderful thing. The other wonderful thing about Diceni was, of course, the people that I was with. I mean, a shout out to my friends Jess and Josie. And I mean, I've not known Josie that long, to be honest. Like, it was basically through volunteering last year, and then now we've gotten to know each other, we've chatted, and yeah, I enjoyed spending time together, and it's a lovely thing. And I was very honored to have my friends say, "Yeah, of course, I enjoy your games and everything." So that was lovely. And having there, it's relaxed, being able to take a moment to wander around. Let me start off from the start. I mean, okay, so pre-event, I was hoping to have a few new games. I was hoping to get some new copies of a game about wee whimsical creatures and trying to identify them after some mixed noises. That would have been nice. There are some new copies coming in a box. I was hoping to get a game about cute comical creatures and trying to identify them after some mixed noises, along with a game about selecting 7 cards, speedily searching for synergies, and a game about drawing creatures, complementing the drawings and complementing the complements, and yeah, all other stuff that's on its way. Unfortunately, I didn't quite manage to get this stuff together, and I do feel like noisy games and big visual games are always good for drawing a crowd and people thinking, "Oh, I can do this." I just had the one table. There was maybe 2 or 3 times during the day that it was completely full, and we had some people playing on this side, then my game's in the middle, and some people playing on that side. But yeah, it was lovely. Anyway, pre-event. Actually, you know what? I've already told you enough about Diceni. I'll get back to that in a minute, but let's quickly talk about recent highlights, living life and seeing the sights, recent highlights, playing games and other delights, recent highlights. Yesterday, I just was not feeling energetic at all. I didn't get out until quite late, but what I did manage to do, what was, I would say, my biggest achievement, was making a meal. A meal with, I may say, a couple of baby potatoes, half an aubergine, half a garlic, like half a bulb of garlic. I like garlic. A big spoon of chili, half a red onion, a big spoon of peanut butter, a big spoon of whole grain mustard, a bit of paprika, a bit of cinnamon, all mixed in and stir fried. And Oh, I love aubergine and I deserve aubergine, and that's no, yeah, that's pretty much it. And let me show you a wee picture of what is that? Come on, I do apologize. Present, share screen, window. There we go. This is a spoon of it, and here, if you tilt your head, you'll see like the aubergines, the garlics. It's all in this wonderful thick sauce, and what I find is that I do need to pour a little bit of water to avoid it completely drying out, because with the heat of the pan, it's on a high heat, and then it's all going to fizzle out. So after I put in the peanut butter like that, just I think it's also the aubergines, like they're absorbing so much moisture. But yeah, that was definitely my highlights, and just managing to get out late in the day, having a lovely chat with someone about everything, and they were like very supportive, like through text. The other highlights were that I got some keys, so I've got access to a very small extra storage space. So I'm going to try and, over the next few weeks, organize my stuff a bit better. Fingers crossed. I watched a bit of Good News, which was nice, and played a lot of Board Game Arena and did a lot of snoozing. I feel like I caught up with sleep, and I ended up sleeping very late last night. But yeah, other highlights. Sparks of Joys, a Spanish company reaching out to me about a possible partnership for a party game, and that was exciting. And I replied and kind of said, "Hey, these are all the things that I've got on the go, and these are the things looking for publishers." I'm really excited by that, because in my life, I've signed, I want to say, 4 contracts for board games. Yogi Sees the Power, which unfortunately went down. Creature, which the company's folded, but that it came out, and it was a print on demand thing, and it's going to lead to something else in the French market. And Last Bug Standing in the Circle of Doom. So yeah, actually 4 contracts I've signed, but none of them except for Yogi have become evergreens. Having said that, like when I look at my rates, I mean, I am getting faster. I'm like in 2016, I signed my first contract, and my second one was in 2020. Then in 2022, I signed 2 more contracts. And so that's like something really exciting. That's one day I will get my second evergreen, maybe with this Spanish company, maybe with someone else, and we'll see what happens. And also, it's worth me remembering that not everything has the potential for this massive global success, but we can discuss stuff. Other highlights. Yes, someone sent me a lovely message on Board Game Geek. I'm not going to name names, but they said that they really enjoyed one of my games, and I was feeling a bit down. So I said, thank you very much. And that was, yeah, brilliant thing was a little thing, which is brilliant. Brilliant things are genuine tokens of appreciation, just letting someone know. Like I talked with Phil yesterday about this, Phil Walker Harding, about how when you sell a big number, whether that's 2 million copies of Sushi Go, or whether that's about about 200,000 of Yogi and Yogi Guru, then like there's a bit of you that forgets that all of these people are real people. But it's when I go to a convention and then I see them, and then it's like, wow, people are really enjoying that. So for someone to then send me a message and say, hey, I really enjoy your games. And you know what? This morning, Julian and Libby from Box Meeples were like, hey, Bess, what are you doing? What have you got that's new? We want to come to your 2 p.m. events, which was a lovely thing for someone to say they enjoyed those events that much, that they'll be coming to all of them. And I'm really excited for that. And I'm, honestly, really chuffed. Not much more to say, Dan. Yes, it's gratifying to know that what I make is actually being enjoyed. So please, if you enjoy something and if you're able to reach out to the designer or artist or whoever, then please do. Because, yeah, it's just the most lovely thing. And I have actually messaged Halmer Hach on Board Game Geek to say how much I love photosynthesis. As always, as we get into the main topic, please do feel free to comment, ask questions, and like follow. And I am going to the other small achievement is that I managed to actually send a report to the Lost Property Office for East Anglia for my banner. So, I mean, I'm not super hopeful, but hopefully I will get them back. We will see. We will see. Anyway, Diceni. So, Diceni is in Norwich, and Norwich is about 2 hours on the train from London, but I will say the rail connections are pretty shocking, to the point where the first train on Sunday would arrive at like 10:30 a.m. I mean, it is Sunday service, it's a one-day show, and part of me thinks, oh, if only it was a Saturday, but maybe Sunday just works better for the town and stuff, I don't know. But yeah, if it was a Saturday, then it would be maybe marginally easier to get there, although I would have been straight. Anyway, I stayed over in about an hour away, and two of us, myself, Josie, Jess on the left, wandered up. There's Josie's cats. That's me in the back, smiling, looking forward to a day at Diceni. And I didn't get a photo of myself, but when it was slightly quieter, I did get a few photos, and there were a couple of points where it was just running itself, which was amazing. And people engaging with something that they normally wouldn't. People thinking, oh, maybe this would work well for our player group, and then loving it, and then choosing to buy it at the end. I mean, I do always tell people, well, if you're not able to decide which ones to buy, I think you should buy them both. And obviously that's because I'm biased, because I'm going to make more money, but I don't think I do a hard sell. I think I like to think that people know that they can walk away without buying anything, and there's not going to be any judgments. A couple of people did actually just walk back 5 minutes later and be like, you know what, we do actually want that thing. And people were getting these games explained to them. I think the highlight was, one of the highlights for me was selling out of a game about quickly matching words to pictures, but never words to words or pictures to pictures. That was a first edition that had lingered on, and I had, I think, about 6 copies that had still lingered from around this time last year. And so getting that done was a massive thing for me. I'm proud that, yeah, just people were enjoying all the things. A game about setting scenarios that people would do for different lengths of time seemed to be a lovely thing that people really got into as well. There's Josie, a lovely friend and a wonderful helper. And these people are playing a game about quickly grabbing creatures that are totally different and counting your radishes. And this was a nice thing, because there in Diceni there were many other markets. And you know what, I might shrink that for just a moment and do a quick recap of my own YouTube video. So on Sunday I did do this thing, which I'm going to, oh, that's not really loading. So you can sort of see my friend page there, and if I speed it up slightly, so it's a love. Let me skip that because you can't hear it. So that's my stand, and then there's miniatures, there's people selling stuff, there's people selling different games, people demoing stuff, lovely dice. There's people are kind of showing what's going on with their board game cafe and saying, hey, we are a board game cafe, come to our board game cafe, and these are the kinds of games that you could maybe play. And it was lovely seeing the fuzzies. That's a cool wee game. And let me actually speed it up a wee bit. There were people doing demos of different stuff, and Diceni is set up by Aftermath, which has all, like, it's heavily miniatures based. So there is a lot of miniatures going on. There was this extra area which allowed more people to be parts of that. They were sort of demonstrating their own self-published games. We had this RPG thing going on, and people could sit down to try it for a while, which is super lovely. And I think everyone's aware that. Let me actually make myself marginally bigger. I feel like everyone's aware that yes, you are going to sell stuff, but it's absolutely not going to be anywhere as lucrative as, from an income point of view, as I don't know, Dragon Meet, let alone UK Games Expo. And so from that point of view, is it worth going to as a trader? Yeah, because why do I go as a trader? I go because, if I'm being honest, it's cheap enough to join that it makes financial sense. And I really love what they're doing and I want to support it. Because like stuff like here, where they've got models for heroes and there's all these extra charity events, and it's very much, hey, let's bring in the local community who maybe wouldn't be able to just, who wouldn't pay any, who wouldn't make the commitment to spend hours at a show. But if you say, hey, you can wander in and you can wander out and it's free to go in, then it's a case of, you know what, why not? I'll just pop in. And having something that's literally free to enter does bring down the pressure a lot, because then you don't feel like you have to stay there. And if you're not sure if you want to be there, then it's something where a lot more people will enter. And then I think that's what leads to there being a lot more diversity on people who aren't what I would call the hobbyist gamers, who are, and also, frankly, the slightly privileged, affluent gamers who are able to say, you know what, I am able to dedicate this whole day to playing games. I mean, that's a privileged situation to be in. And I'm willing to spend this money to just go in and see what's going on. Again, that's a privileged situation to be in. But if you've got like people wandering past, and the thing is, oh, that's the end of my quick walk around. If you've got people wandering past and saying, hey, what's going on here? Maybe I'll pop in. Do I like games? Yeah, I played Scrabble. I like games. Maybe they've got something for me. Maybe they don't, but I'll just pop in for 5 minutes. And then hopefully, fingers crossed, they end up being there and hanging out for, I don't know, half an hour or an hour, because maybe they realize, hey, I'm enjoying this a bit more than I thought I would, which is an absolutely lovely thing. And it gets stuff going on, like, these lovely people. I mean, and this lovely person, I mean, Jess and Josie came for me, but then at this point, like, was, okay, half the people are playing a game about quickly grabbing creatures that are totally different and counting your radishes. Half the people are playing a game about quickly grabbing creatures that are totally different and counting your beetroots. And people were just enjoying that and coming together. And there was, even though it was like two separate things, having one table does make it feel a little bit more, how should I say, personal, intimate. And then for a game about testing scenarios that people do for different lengths of time, it's like, I mean, at a certain point, I think that people are like, you know what? Yeah, we enjoy that game, so we're going to trust you to show us another game. If you kind of make a good estimate of what people might enjoy, and if you present them with something that they do enjoy, I think that it's then a lot more likely to keep them there, because it's like, hey, I enjoyed that. Yes, I'll play something else. And yeah, it was just wonderful times. And then, yeah, afterwards, I'll go this really quickly. Had some vegan stuff. This is Aubergine, and there's a board game cafe that's totally plant-based, which is quite cool. I really like bulgur rice. This was a rib, which it's big seitan. I wasn't super keen on the Seitan, to be honest, but yeah. And then, yeah, lovely people helping me. So let's go back to Diceni. Would I go again if I were in the UK? Yes, I would. Um, I took in, I'm willing to tell you my gross profits. Let me double check. My gross profits, I think that's the correct term, was about £200. And bearing in mind that most of the things that I'm selling are less than a tenner, I mean, a whole bunch of them are just a fiver or 7.50. And so, for some reason, this app's not loading my iZettle app. I was checking my progress reports on that. There we go. It was, yeah, £210. Did I? So if I assume that I'm making about 50% profits, let's say 60% profits on each of those things, about £120 net profit. And then in terms of, okay, let's spend a bit on the tickets to get there, let's spend a bit to have a meal. I probably came out about even, but considering that meal as a business expense, and it meant that I got a free dinner and I was able to treat my two friends to a dinner. So that was a nice thing. And that's typically what happens for me at Diceni. I go there, I have like a nice meal, and then in previous years, when it's been just me, I end up with like 10 or 20 quid in extra in my pocket. And this year, 60, similar-ish. I think I made, it was pretty much break even, maybe negative £10. But again, we had a lovely meal together in the gaming cafe afterwards, and so that was good. I think that for me, if I'm able to break even at a convention, I always consider it, well, it depends how many I sell. If I sold enough, then it feels like, yeah, actually, you know what? I managed to reach more people. It's not given me an income, but hopefully it will result in new people down the line and new people buying my stuff. Fingers crossed. Who knows? The other thing that I think is the other reason that I would go is because maybe going to Norwich, frankly, it's kind of nice. Problems. I mean, frankly, this is again nothing to do with the city. On Sunday, there were real issues. Rather than being 1 hour, what should have been about 1 hour 20 was about an extra hour with a replacement bus service, and then I lost my banners, which is going to cost me 80 quid. So that's a bit annoying. And one of them I don't even have the digital files for anymore. So that's a bit sad, but that's nothing to do with Diceni. And in terms of how many of each thing should I take, I think if I were to go again, I would take no more than 10 of each thing. I think that, yeah, 10 of each thing would be sufficient, especially given how many different games I've got going on. And hello, Lucy. It is lovely to see you, and I hope that you are generally well. Have you been to Diceni? Are you based in Norwich? So I feel like I don't really have much more to say. Should you go to Diceni as an exhibitor, I think that if what you sell is very hardcore games, if your games are very much based around a hobbyist market, if you're doing Euro games that are like big hour-long games or even like 40 minutes long games, it might not be the best place for you. But if you're a person making games that can be demonstrated in 10 minutes or less, I would say give it a go and head off there, do a lot of party games and see how it works. And I would recommend it. I would say that if you've got, if you're going as a punter, if you're in the area, then definitely yes, consider it. If you're maybe So if there's someone that you can stay with, if you can think of an extra excuse to go into the area, yes, absolutely. But is it worth it to travel over there? Like, would I go as a punter if I were based in London, which I am? No, I probably wouldn't. It's not worth the 60 quid on the train and then coming back. And I mean, I guess if I could, like, say, hey, Josie, do you fancy spending an entire day together? Then I might do that. Like, just to go to the convention, no, especially not with the difficult Sunday travel services. But yes, anyone who's based in the area, Ipswich, Norwich, those kinds of places, head over. It's a lovely thing. And I think that I would love to see more stuff like this, like the Herefordshire. Although the problem with the Herefordshire Here for Games Mega Made charity event is that it's kind of out of the way. Here it's right in the middle of the city, in the forum, which is basically the entrance to the library, and so everyone's just wandering past and go, "Boop, I'll see what's going on out." And this is more interesting than I fancy, so I'm going to stay here. Whereas the Here for Games event, that's lovely, it's joyous, it's full of people, but it is kind of out of the way. So you do still have to make a commitment to going there for a significant period of time. So I would say there are slightly fewer people who aren't already hobbyist gamers. So it's slightly less diverse in the Here for Games Mega May charity event, which is just an unfortunate reality of the available venues. But I would love more places. I mean, those are the only two in the UK that I'm aware of, where it's like a big thing. They've got like tens of traders, and there's like, well, are there actually tens of traders at Mega May? Like there's a big presence, there's people demoing games, and even if there aren't tens of traders, there's also all these volunteers making sure that there's games to play and being like little game gurus. I think it's just a wonderful thing. And yeah, I hope that it continues for a long time. I would encourage everyone in the UK, if you're publishing party games, get yourself down and show off your stuff. Get in touch with Neil and Lee, and I'm sure they'd love to have you. And yeah, they've just done such wonderful things. And yeah, I mean, I might actually talk to Josie about when, but yeah, it was wonderful. As I said at the start, if you've got any comments, questions, then I try to reply to all the respectful stuff. Otherwise, I'm going to ask you a question of the day. Question of the day. Here's a little question before we go on our way. Question of the day. So my question to you is, what do you think about flat roofs? I mean, in the UK, it's raining a lot. There's all angled roofs, but like some places, in the Mediterranean, in Iran, like you've got basically flat roofs, and then it's like, hey, it's going to basically just come off in a wee bit because you get hot rain. So, I never really, for me, because it's unusual to me, I would feel a bit uncomfortable about, is the rain going to accumulate somewhere? Is it going to eventually cave in? But I think there's something quite fun about that. Actually, my other question is, do you have a loft or attic, if you have a pointy roof, do you have a place that under the kind of top roof, it's not as well insulated, it doesn't have, maybe it's not as dry, so you can't necessarily put all your stuff because it might get moldy, but you can definitely store stuff up there? And then my question is, do you store stuff in your loft or attic, and what do you store? Currently, I just got, I don't have anything up there right now. That's what I'll say. But for you, I'm genuinely curious. So let's say, over to you. What are you up to? You can share button if you want to. What are you up to today? Today, I am meant to be having someone over around 7ish for dinner, and I will make the exact same thing that I had yesterday, but double in proportion. and we'll be chatting, and they might be helping me with stuff. I'll also got two things that I had to prioritize. Tax stuff, because I am self-employed, and there was one other thing. I think, yeah, checking the parking for the person who's coming over. And the other thing that I'm planning on doing is then, yeah, doing the final rules for the checking the text for categorical, going over that, and also, yeah, possibly doing some drawing. That's me. And hello, Gibbon Tessie. I have an attic with the insulation on the floor, but not the eaves. It's still really warm and dry up there because heat rises. That's a fairly good point. I have loads of stuff up there. Do you have board games? I mean, I'm sure you like. Do you have board games in your, or do you all have all your games like downstairs? Um, yeah, I'm glad that you've got to dry attic. Congratulations. I mean, congratulations, but yeah, congratulations and celebrations on your dry attic with your stuff in it. Anyway, over to you. What you're up to? I am going to try and do a wee bit of stuff. I'm going to make sure I get out for mental health. Like yesterday, we talked about the joy of a walk, and yeah, that's pretty much me. Lego boxes, etc., so they don't clutter the house. Yeah, it's got to be the stuff that you maybe don't use all the time, right? Anyway, to recap and wrap up before we finish up, I talked about Diceni. Diceni is like just the best convention in Norwich, which I say, but then it has been the only convention in Norwich for a while, and there is a new one starting this year, which sadly I won't be at because it clashes with Tabletop Scotland. But I love the diversity. I love having people over who have maybe only really played Scrabble and a few other older games, and then they play a few new things and they fall in love with it, and they actually enjoy the surrealism and the humor. I loved having my help, like Josie and Jess. Thank you so much. I loved kind of meeting amazing people who had such wonderful energy. And once I showed them, hey, let me show you this quick game that's only 5 minutes, and then they played that, and oh, that's fun. And then they were more willing to play more stuff. It's very validating. I think that's my favorite thing. That's like all of these things. Yeah, I think everything that I brought, obviously Dice and Ink is the one that is going to sell the least because it's £25 and I don't really demo it. But even there, a few people picked it up, say, oh, what's this? And then one person bought it, which is nice. It's a quiet market. It's only 6 hours long. It's from 10 until 4 p.m. But it's such a lovely thing. And it did seem to be kind of winding down. So I think that finishing at 4 p.m. is probably the right call, even though I could have probably gone like half an hour or an hour longer. But it was such a wonderful event. Thank you so much to my friends. And at this point, if you feel like if you are in Norwich and you or feel like Diceni is worth supporting, please do. And if you enjoyed this show, then spread the word. Spread the word about whatever you think is worth sharing and spreading the word about, whether it's my show or Diceni. Thank you very much, everyone, for being here. Lots of love. If you want to check out me generally, I'm Stuff by Bez in all of the places. Twitch and YouTube and Twitter, where you might be seeing this, but also stuffbybez.com/Discord, where you can join my Discord if that's something that you want to do. And stuffbybez.com/streams will tell you about my streams. Tomorrow, I'm talking about automatic resource growth with Alan Paul. We are going through all the mechanisms of board games, and finally, we will have finished the A's after tomorrow. And then Thursday, I'm chatting to Kirsten Lunde. Friday will be a short rant on my own. And what is Saturday and Sunday? Let me check. Saturday, Chantal Verdier, who runs lots of gaming groups and has done demos. Bruce Vogue, we might talk about demonstrating and energy and game shows and next Monday is Matthew Dunstan, a lovely designer. We'll be having an in-depth look at one of their games as we play it on Board Game Arena. So yeah, that's pretty much me. As always, thank you for watching, and bye bye, bye bye. This is a goodbye song. Blue blue. Bye bye, bye bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye bye, bye bye. This is the end of the show. Bye bye, bye bye. And now it's time to go. Bye bye, bye bye. This is a goodbye song. Bye bye, bye bye. Thank you for watching along. Bye bye, bye bye. This is the end of the show. Bye bye, bye bye. And now it's time to go. Thank yous for watching. Lots of love. Bye bye.